Hiya, welcome to my Compound Life. I'm your host, Jonathan. Good to see you. Thanks for watching. Do me a favor, before we get into anything else, hit the like, hit subscribe. Please be my 7th subscriber. I'll be honored if you can become my 7th subscriber, right? If you somehow manage to be my 7th subscriber, drop a comment and just write 7th, right? That will be really helpful. Okay, so my Compound Life, quickly reiterate, we're here to build assets, build habits, build freedom, right? Freedom in the future, freedom in terms of financial free. We talk about different assets. However, I tend to get into Bitcoin a lot more because we are still in the Bitcoin cycle and there are a lot more content to talk about. So I've built my conviction through the assets such as Bitcoin, properties, equities, ETF, and all of that stuff, right? And I think I have made some success that I can retire early-ish. Can't say early retirement because I'm kind of near my mid-40s. But anyway, here goes. So what will I be talking about today? I'll be talking about Bitcoin. Fantastic, right? So, am I bullish about Bitcoin? I'm extremely bullish about Bitcoin, right? However, that's only for the longer term, okay? So all you need to do, if you're feeling unhappy, if you're feeling FUD, fear, uncertainty, doubt, just zoom out from the chart, take a look how much progress has Bitcoin made throughout all of these years, okay? So we are finalizing the end of the Bitcoin bull run for the fourth. I think we are in the fourth Bitcoin cycle. Yes. Okay. So don't worry, right? If your portfolio, your Bitcoin portfolio is under, okay? Because the next Bitcoin cycle that are highly relevant to the halving event, Bitcoin halving event, that will fall sometime in 2028. That would be the 5th Bitcoin cycle, okay? And the best time to accumulate, right? That would essentially indicate the lower end of the Bitcoin price. We sometimes call them the bear market cycle for Bitcoin. Usually for the past 4 Bitcoin cycle, it will be about 500 days before the halving event, right? In 2028. So the next time you reaccumulate, it's only a stone throw away. It's about a year away from now, okay? So do not FOMO in to buy Bitcoin because all the influencers are talking about ISM, global liquidity, gold price going up, rate cut, interest rate cut from the Fed, Trump's stimulus check. These are all small catalysts in comparison to the actual Bitcoin halving event coming in 2028, right? So the reason I'm making this video, I'm trying to make you aware and to get into the Bitcoin rhythm, okay? Because investing in equity market, right, stocks market, there's also another rhythm that we need to follow. And usually it's not as clear cut, right? Especially when you kind of invest in a very, very good company like the Tesla, like the Nvidia, right? There's always the business cycle. There's always other things such as quantitative easing, quantitative tightening. You need to look into all of this, and it's never quite predictable in a way, right? However, Bitcoin, it's slightly different because it still follows the 4 years Bitcoin cycle, and essentially means it's hard-coded, it's algorithmic based. Whenever 4-year cycle happens, essentially that means the number of Bitcoin that gets minted, or the number of Bitcoins that gets generated, or the number of Bitcoin that gets mined gets halved, right? So in this specific cycle, every block will yield the miners approximately 3.152 Bitcoin. Okay. In the next halving cycle, sometime in 2028, the number of Bitcoin that gets minted at every block would be 1.5 something Bitcoin, right? So it will cause a supply shock, right? So in comparison to the money market, in comparison to the stocks and shares that you buy, that I buy, right? It all comes down to the performance of the company, of course, the fundamental of the company, of course, the narratives, whether it follows the narratives. And this time around, it's all on AI, right? And also it, falls under the business cycle, right? Quantitative easing, quantitative tightening, ISM, and so forth, right? So Bitcoin, it essentially just follow that 4 years halving event cycle, right? That would gives us a very clear indication that after the cycle, after the halving event, give it approximately 100 days, and then Bitcoin usually would get into another all-time high, right? So personally, I would follow. Why do I have such a bigger bag in Bitcoin versus my stocks and shares, ISA, for my ETF, etc., right? Because I'm still in the early phase of asset accumulation, right? Why am I accumulating more asset? Essentially, I want to pay off more of my debt, right? And my debt is currently a lot on properties, right? The sooner I can clear more of such debt, the better, the bigger cash flow that I can achieve. And that permits me to buy more Bitcoin, right? And that's how I'm doing it, right? Of course, I know people that purely just want to invest in Bitcoin because it's gotten tough enough for them to get into the property ladder, right? So I sometimes look at the youngish people in their 20s, in their 30s, or even in their 40s that still hasn't gotten into properties. They're gonna find it really tough, right? And why is that? It's a lot of time is because of inflation. The government are causing all of these inflations. Look at the Labour government right now in the UK, right? Look at how are they spending money? How are they spending the taxpayers' money? Most of it are getting distributed outside of the UK, right? So with all of this in mind, I kind of feel more secure if that there is something that goes beyond the traditional money market, right? Okay, so knowing that, once you kind of in tune of what's going on with your surrounding, then eventually you're gonna want to find the hardest asset that you can potentially buy. And in my case, Bitcoin, properties, and then that's pretty much it in terms of what I invest. And I'm doing pretty okay from all of this, right? So get into the rhythm, right? And the rhythm that I'm telling you is and will continue to be the 4 years Bitcoin halving event cycle. The next one will be in 2028, the best time to re-enter if you felt you have been left out and then you want to FOMO back in. Just wait, right? DCA in small bit at a time, but wait until next year November. That would be like the best time to enter. How many halving events will there be, right? There will be plenty of halving event. The last and final halving will happen in about 111 years time, right? So that would be still definitely not in our lifetime or our kids' lifetime. Well, it depends on your age, right? But take it into consideration that, right? So, well, I cannot promise that Bitcoin will forever be here. But at least for the next coming few years or the next coming halving event, right? You will be better off to have Bitcoin than not to have any Bitcoin, right? Because we are still early in terms of Bitcoin. As you can see, any assets that enter the market, the first couple of years, the return of the asset is actually incredibly high, right? And the fact that I'm still telling you this because we are still early. Bitcoin would still gives us a good compound annual growth rate, CAGR. I think Michael Saylor calculated maybe, in the next few halving event or in the next few more years, it would still return us 30 to 50%, right? Which asset class would return you 30 to 50% in terms of CAGR, right? Nothing, right? So in that case, be early, right? But enter the right time, okay? If you want to enter now, right? Great, good for you. Pound cost average, dollar cost average, that's the way to do it, right? But stack up cash, right? Don't be the sucker that keeps hodling your bag of crypto or shit coins throughout the bear cycle, right? So as a highlight, I've got a bag of Bitcoin that I'll never touch. It's stashed up somewhere in a bank deposit box that I'll never touch, right? And it's hard to access to, right? However, I do have a small swing bag that I need to pay off my expenses and so forth, that I buy low, sell high every now and then, okay? So this is the kind of approach that you should be adopting to. And this will, help you to compound your Bitcoin asset in a very small, short period of time, get some good gain that help you to pay off your lifestyle, pay off your mortgages and so forth, and be financially free, okay? So that's it, what I want to talk about. Be long-term bullish, but at the same time, the fact that we are about to enter a bear cycle soon, I just want you all to be cautious and to be bearish too. Okay, so that's it for my video. Please hit subscribe, drop a like, be my 7th subscriber, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.